Some of the new arrivals the past few weeks, this one is wonderful. It's a 1960 Chevrolet Impala four-door sedan. Mm-hmm. You say, well, Stewart, why would you pick that? Well, it's very cool looking, first of all. 1960 Impala has got a really iconic look to it. But this one is kind of a resto mod. It's Roman red and ermine white over black and red. It's got a 350 cubic inch Vortec V8 with dual Edelbrock carbs. So it's feeding some fossil fuels down into that bad boy. And it's got that awesome Jet H styling, and Power Glide automatic, and air conditioning. And it's just a cool looking car, and it's affordable. You know, that's the thing. You know, people say, why don't you feature all expensive cars? Well, because not everybody can afford
it is affordable.
Car. Yeah, it's very affordable.
Reasonable.
60 or 59 Chevy, the cat's eye taillights or the bullets? What do you like?
I like both. I like 59s a lot. I think they are just such that cat eye look, especially when you're following them. But I don't know. These are pretty cool. The bullet ones are pretty cool, too.
I noticed the Audi SUV has that same shaped taillight.
Yep, they absolutely do. So, but, you know, one of those things that you can get into the hobby, you can fill up the back seat with your grandkids and go to get ice cream or whatever it is you do, or head down to the lake and have an enjoyable time and sharing that time with family members and friends. You know, a two-seater car, it's just you and your buddy or you and your wife or you and one other person.
Right.
You can't go get ice cream. Well, you can. I'm not saying you can't get
Bring it home.
Yeah. And it's half melted.
No, it's a great car with the fins, the horizontal fins, I call them.
And that Roman red and ermine white are a great color combination. So
plus the jet on the side. I mean, that thing is so cool.
Yeah, the Jet Age was in full force back then.
With the chemtrail.
Yeah,
in the back.
And it's under 20 grand.
Yeah, it's really great. One of the best. We should do a little segment called Best Bargains or Best Buys. There's a few here that I think are just like incredible, great prices.
I don't disagree. That Harley comes to mind over there.
The white one?
Yeah, the white one.
That's a great price.
That's a great price. That thing is priced so properly, it's not even funny. I can't believe it didn't flown off the shelves, right? Other new arrivals, the 1968 Chevrolet Corvette Convertible, torch red over saddle. Saddle being exactly what it sounds like. It's a light tan, if you will, interior. And saddle, I don't know where that came from. Probably from the horse world, I'm guessing.
Good.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm a thinker when it comes to stuff like that. This is a 30-year restoration. And you say, well, how in the world can somebody spend 30 years restoring a car? It's not that he worked every minute of every day on it.
Oh, it's a 30-year restoration, not that it was done 30 years ago, that it took 30 years.
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know. Now I'm questioning everything.
I can't remember that.
You wrote it.
It may have been done 30 years ago, which is not a bad thing either if it was stored properly and maintained.
The frustrating thing when you buy a car that was recently restored, I'm talking about within the past, 2 to 3 months, and it's only put a few miles on it. It hadn't been sorted out completely. There's always issues. There's things, or not issues, but there's things that you need to be aware of when you buy a car that hasn't been driven much. We see cars that are fresh builds that have 5 miles on them. You got to make sure that you get that thing out and go through it properly, because otherwise there could be things that are going to rear their head that you won't know about. So you got to just be careful. It's just like with anything. Do your due diligence. This one's got the correct 427 cubic inch V8, numbers matching Muncie M21 transmission. It's got the hardtop, and it's, of course, the first year for the C3s, which were, unloved for many years, but boy, they're not anymore.
They're not, and we have some fabulous C3s here at Classic Auto Mall.
Yeah, and Corvette Bronze is a really good color on those. That's I don't like that color on many cars. It's funny about certain colors on certain cars. We were talking about this the other day. There's certain cars that red looks terrible on.
Right.
And certain cars that red is the best color you could possibly have. And then same with white, and same with just about any color. Other new arrivals, the 1956 Ford Customline Victoria two-door hardtop. This is Berkshire green and colonial white over medium green and light green. What a name. Garage kept, multiple show wins, great restoration. Got the 292 cubic inch V8 with a Ford-O-Matic tranny. And this thing screams 1950s.
Yeah.
I mean, that Berkshire green and colonial white is a great color, not unlike the Roman red and the other color combinations that we see. And that 2 shades of green interior is really funny to look at because, in this day and age, you don't see that quite as much.
You don't see green. You see a lot of black.
You see a lot of black,
charcoal.
A lot of charcoal. I mean, you see white a lot, which I think,
gray, white, occasionally red, but colors are just not part of the palette, really.
What about keeping a white interior clean?
Yeah, exactly.
My goodness, that's tough. I mean,
it would be. And some of these 50s cars that have white interiors are pristine. It's amazing
how they have kept them that well. And of course, white kind of goes with any color. So, except if you're Mac's father-in-law, who actually bought a suit so ugly one time that even a white shirt wouldn't go with it. That's pretty ugly. But white pretty much is a nice palette for anything, whether it's a wall in your house or a car color or an interior color or whatever, because it kind of any exterior color goes with it. And I love the General Motors white back in the day, which was called parchment, which is almost like an opalescent, whitish, pearlish color. It's really a cool color.
Yeah.
And it's hard, I don't know if it's hard to replicate. You see a lot that don't get it right, that replace that interior with something that's just kind of pure white, not opalescent or what we like to call it. But anyway, other new arrivals, how about the 1930 Ford Model A Tudor sedan? Ford used that nomenclature for two-door sedans, Tudor, T-U-D-O-R, and Forder, so F-O-R-D-O-R.
Yeah, it's a little confusing,
it's a little confusing. So black over brown, highly original example, got the venerable 201 cubic inch 4-cylinder, 3-speed manual. But this is a drivable project, what we were just talking about a few minutes ago, where you can enjoy it and drive it for a couple of years, have fun with it. And Model A's are cool. I'm sorry. They are so cool. They're not fast. They're not valuable. They don't corner well. They don't do anything really particularly outstanding, but they're just cool. And such a representation of what the hobby is, and to go and experience a Model A and to drive it and to live with it for a period of time, not as your daily driver, obviously, but just to enjoy it on the weekends. It's a lot of fun. And if you have the right mindset, it's like anything. I always say you can hit the apex of the corner in your minivan,
right?
So same with the Model A. I mean, if you appreciate the history, a 1930 Ford Model A is very close, 5 model years almost away from being 100
years old. Yeah,
that's hard to believe.
It is amazing, and having something like that is unique also.
And they're not, you think that the market was gone for those, but it's not. We still sell.
Oh, huge. And plus the Model A Club met here last year, I think it was, and there were like 50 of them out in the lot.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. And
they drove, a lot of them drove here, from Michigan, and it's incredible.
That's quite the adventure. You better have your big boy pants on and some duct tape when you do that. When we return, we'll continue with some of our new arrivals at the Classic Auto Mall show. We'll see you in a couple of minutes.
Whether you want to buy or sell a classic, collectible, or special interest vehicle, you need to visit the Classic Auto Mall website for more information. If you're looking to buy, you can easily search our inventory of more than 1,000 vehicles on the web at classicautomall.com.
We were talking about some of the new arrivals in here, and another oldie but goodie, the 1940 Pontiac Series 25 Special 6 4-door sedan, black over beige, 46,887 original.
Actual miles.
Miles.
Amazing.
On a car that is 84 years old, 85 model years old.
That's amazing.
3 owners, very original. We got the Historic Preservation of Original Feature Award from the AACA in 2006. It's got some rare options. And it was a Greenwich Concours winner of what you call a preservation award.
That's right, in its class.
In its class. And really a neat car, and ones that you don't see often. And these are cars that are really fun to own, because if you pull up to a car show, everybody's seen a Model A, and that's cool. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's why Camaros and Mustangs and Corvettes are so
popular. There you go.
Positive.
The positive and popular.
They're positive and popular. That's the reason of that, because people like what they like, and a lot of people like the same things. But you pull up in a 1940 Pontiac, I guarantee you'll probably be the only one there. And some people like that and some people don't.
Right.
There are, different strokes for different folks.
There's also a lot of pre-war shows that are just pre-war cars, and so you might not be the only one, but this is a nice one.
But very rarely do you see these early Pontiacs.
That's true.
We had that 26 Pontiac Speedster here that got donated to the AACA headquarters down in Hershey, and it's now in their lobby there, or it was anyway. I don't know if it's still there, but a really neat car. And some people like the individuality of having a 1940 Pontiac over a 1938 Ford or something that was maybe, the amount that they build of 1940 Pontiacs versus 1940 Fords has got to be exponentially different. Hundreds of thousands different. For sure. But this one's really neat and very original, and it's something that you probably should just buy and not mess with.
And if you have kids or grandkids, the back seats of these things are so much fun.
Huge.
It's like a playground back there. I would love to be a kid again and just
put a sandbox back there.
Yeah, just amazing room.
And last but not least, the 1966 Chevrolet Nova hardtop, willow green over fawn and brown. This one was garage kept, long-term ownership, 350 V8, really kind of a subtle muscle car.
Yeah.
It's got you can tell it's cool and it's got the rake and the stance, but it doesn't scream muscle. But this thing will go. These things are, and it's Power Glide 2-speed automatic. They're pretty simple and basic transmissions.
Yeah, if I remember this one right, it's a pretty low option car.
Yeah.
So it's pretty plain Jane on the inside. It was probably a daily commuter for somebody. And now it's just like you said, it's just a subtle stance, hints at muscle with a great simple interior.
Sure.
You've been listening to the Classic Auto Mall Show with your host, Stewart Howden.